checkmate. Gowdy and Goodlatte stomp their feet, crush Strzock with perfect ultimatum by us4trump.com. As what has been highly circulated on Thursday, Michael Horowitz finally released his highly anticipated IG report into the handling of the Hillary Clinton email scandal, and what was uncovered about key players of the FBI is quite shocking, to say the least. Most of the focus throughout the day has primarily been on former FBI Director James Comey, whose statements over time are not panning out to lean towards the truthful side. However, Congressman Trey Gowdy and Bob Goodlatte have their minds set on one FBI operative in particular who they think needs some special attention after reading the report in full, and that person is none other than Peter Strzock. Strzock led key aspects of the FBI's investigation into Hillary Clinton's email case and was lead investigator of the Russia probe, and some of his texts, which were earlier redacted, showed just how biased he was and probably still is towards President Trump. While speaking with Goodlatte and Gowdy, Baire brought forth new texts that were unredacted between the FBI agents Peter Strzock and Lisa Page. The text suggests that not only does Strzock scorn Trump, but he also had the mindset that he should not become president, and even showed he was willing to stop it from happening. After being asked by Page if Trump is going to be president, text showed Strzock replying with, no, he's not, we'll stop it. And then a month later, Strzock said, "Viva la resistance," when asked by Page if he was rethinking his commitment to the Trump administration. This, along with many other facts located in the 500-page thorough IG report, concerns both Goodlatte and Gowdy, despite some analysts and attorneys saying the new information proves no bias in the FBI. The pair of congressmen laid down an ultimatum that should help set the record straight once and for all. Gowdy started off on the bitterly disappointing report and said it was a dark day for the FBI and DOJ, two departments that America desperately needs to have confidence in. And he said of Strzock, this level of bias and animus, not only did he want to stop the Trump campaign, he wanted to stop the Trump presidency. Gowdy said it's troubling that after Trump won, Strzock jumped over to the Mueller probe in an attempt to help impeach the president, which is something his earlier text showed he had ambitions for. Gowdy says there are consequences to Strzock's actions. Why read it? Let's take a listen. Sorry about that.
Reporting, thank you. Let's get a reaction now from the chairman of two major House committees looking into all this. Trey Gowdy is chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, and Bob Goodlatte chairs the House Judiciary Committee. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Chairman Gowdy, first to you, just a broad overview. What strikes you about this report? What's hit you when you look at the 568 pages?
Just what a dark day it is for the FBI and the DOJ, two institutions our country desperately needs. We desperately have to be able to have confidence in them. And this level of bias and animus, not only did he want to stop the Trump campaign, he wanted to stop the Trump presidency. This is an FBI, Peter Strzock, the FBI agent who was on Hillary Clinton's investigation and arguably the lead Russia investigator, not only wanted to stop his campaign, but once he won, got on the Mueller probe because he wanted to impeach him. That is a level of animus and bias that everyone should reject. And Chris Ray, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Chris, there are consequences. The consequences are that your fellow citizens question whether or not they can have confidence in the world's premier law enforcement agency, and that's coming from somebody who's defended him a lot throughout his career. This was a bitterly disappointing report.
Chairman Goodlatte.
Well, first of all, this report shows that there was special treatment given to Hillary Clinton in the investigation of her case. There is not standard procedures followed in investigating her, and there was special treatment given. There's no doubt that this was not proper process, and the report shows time and time again how Director Comey and others made mistakes, errors in judgment, or deliberate. People can draw their own conclusions, but it was improperly handled. And as Trey said, you then put that up against how the investigation has been handled into the so-called Trump-Russia collusion, and you have a contrast that is shocking in terms of how they handled one presidential campaign compared to another. It's got to be investigated further. Changes have got to be made. I will compliment Director Wray on some of the personnel changes that have been made. I will compliment him on saying that there are sobering lessons learned from this. We need to see changes made so in 2020 we don't see another presidential campaign handled like this.
So when you hear Republicans and people who've been looking into this and say this 568 pages there's just not a lot there, or that Horowitz kind of left something on the table, how do you respond to that?
This is a very thorough investigation. He takes minutia and examines each piece carefully, draws his conclusions, and I commend him. I think it's a well done report. Now, I never expected he would find every single thing, as some critics have said, but he did find all kinds of irregularities here. When you couple that with the Strzock page texts, including this new one that has come out recently, where part of it was redacted, by the way. We only recently learned the whole sentence about how he was going to stop Donald Trump from being president of the United States. That is improper for the FBI. And quite frankly, this is the world's premier law enforcement organization, and it's besmirching the reputation of tens of thousands of brave men and women who keep us safe, prevent terrorist attacks, fight crime every single day. And a handful of people in the hierarchy of the organization have caused serious damage.
All right, let's put up the August 8th, 2016. That is the one where Page says Trump's never going to be president, right, and Strzock texts back. That part was redacted in the documents you received. No, he's not. We'll stop it. Here's another part that we believe in November 22nd, 2016, FBI Attorney 1, is it making you rethink your commitment to the Trump administration? I think that's Lisa Page. Attorney 2, hell no, viva la resistance. And we believe that's Peter Strzock. Let me play this soundbite, Congressman Gowdy, from Jim Comey in his interview here in Special Report. I asked about these Strzock page texts, and if he knew now what he knew then, what he would do.
I'd have removed both of them from any contact with significant investigations.
So shouldn't their work...
Including those involving anybody connected to President Trump, but beyond that. Because it's just such poor judgment. Shouldn't their work product then be questioned? Sure, it's a reasonable question to ask.
So
they were bad-mouthing everybody, including the candidate Trump.
So Peter Strzock interviews Hillary Clinton, deals with the bleach bit and the server and Cheryl Mills, all of that, interviews Michael Flynn, and is integral in this whole case.
But he's one of many other people involved in all the things you just ticked off. When I saw the text, I was deeply disappointed in them, but I never saw any bias.
Any bias?
Well, he's not reading the same text I'm reading. I mean, Peter Strzock said that the vote should be 100 million to 0. He can't think of a single solitary American that should vote for Donald Trump to be president. He said he'll stop it as a candidate. He talked about impeachment once he won. Actually, Director Comey unwittingly just proved the point of the question you asked him on follow-up. Would you have kept him on the investigation had you known what you know now? And he said no. Okay, why not? Because bias is that insidious, that is that pervasive. It colors your ability to do what we need the FBI to do, which is to be fair and fact-centric. So, of course, you're going to fire him the day you learn. In my head, I go back, when did you start working on the case? That's when you should have been fired. So whatever he did on either of these investigations, Brett, it has to be viewed through the prism that he can't think of a single solitary person that should vote for this man to be president.
So Strzock's attorney says this is taken out of context. It didn't affect his decisions. Some people say, what happens in the context of those texts? Did they know something about the Russia information, and that's what they're referring to?
Of course.
Do you think that this changes at all in context, or in a vacuum it's just damning?
It changes a lot going forward, because I don't know how my fellow citizens are going to be able to have confidence. I mean, Russia did something to our country in 2016. It was serious. It deserved to be investigated.
Bullshit.
It deserved to be investigated by a fair FBI agent who was not talking about impeaching the person that he was investigating. His lawyer is just wrong. That bias did impact something. He was so hyper-focused on Trump that he ignored the Weiner-Abedin emails, and it caused Jim Comey to have to send a letter a month later than he should have sent it. The other point, Brett, is this. Why is it our job to prove that Strzock's bias impacted his decision-making? I got a better idea. Strzock, you come before Congress, you come before the American public and prove to us that your manifest animus towards Donald Trump did not affect your decisions.
Let me ask one more question on this. Hold on one second, Mr.
What
Okay,
Trey
go ahead.
said, because Trey is exactly right. We have been requesting that he be produced as witness for quite some time now, and that that agreement is not reached. We are very shortly going to issue a subpoena for him to appear.
Speaking of that, there's also documents that you want that you still haven't received. I mean, this process has been going on.
We have set up a better process. We're making progress. We actually have a room down at the Department of Justice where they are producing tens of thousands of documents, and our investigators are going through those, identifying the ones that we want produced. They are producing them. So we're making progress in that regard, but we also have other documents they have not produced, and that we're making progress on that. We have meetings coming up shortly on how to get those additional documents requested produced. It's the American people right to know. The Congress is their representatives. These documents have got to be produced. There is no reason not to produce them.
Chairman Gowdy, the last time you talked about the FBI inner workings, it was about this allegation of Spygate and all of that. You said at the time that you thought that the president and others would think that the FBI was doing what they were supposed to be doing. In context of this, and you're animated about what you're learning out of this IG report, does it change your perspective of how this has all progressed, even when it comes to the Russia investigation?
Brett, I'm animated because Russia tried to undermine the fundamentals of our democracy in 2016. And
you see how he's saying Russia tried to undermine the fundamentals of the election? I mean, are you kidding me? So, like, he's talking out of the two sides of his mouth. And now he's coming out as the big guy after the IG report, now saying, oh yeah, he was biased, and now they're saying they have to question Strzock. So they're saying Strzock is in trouble. Yeah, right. Nobody's in trouble from what I gather.
I think anyone who heard what any law enforcement agency heard in the summer of 2016, every one of my fellow citizens would say, you go find out whether that's true or not. You go find out whether or not a foreign, hostile country is going to mess with our election.
So again, he's talking about Russia involved in the election. Do you see what I'm saying? Again, he's delegitimizing Trump's presidency by saying that. He's speaking out of the two sides of his mouth. This guy is not worth to listen to. And Goodlatte is just a weasel in disguise. He plays like he really wants to know. No, he's the one that came out and said he doesn't want freedom on the internet. So what does that tell you about who Goodlatte is? So give me a break, Gowdy, and give me a break, Goodlatte. You've got the system rigged so much. You have all your players, and we're not going to get the justice that we deserve. It doesn't seem like it to me. But hopefully I'm wrong. But this is listen, you got them prancing around. You got Hillary on Twitter. You got Comey agreeing with the IG report. What does that tell you? The system's rigged. Bottom line. And they're just talking about the reputation of the FBI. What reputation of the FBI? You do nothing but go after regular low-life people, like regular people. You don't go after any criminals. I bet you if they said boo to them, they'd all cower in fear. Come on. This is a crock. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.